It is a huge honor today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Thomas Shipley, who's an orthodontist right here in my backyard. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. You're in Peoria,
right? Which
is just a suburb of Phoenix. It's just really awesome to have you on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
So
First time.
You were lecturing. I mean, this is one of the biggest orthodontic symposiums in the world. Every orthodontist here is a legend. I mean, a legend. I mean, these are some of the biggest legends in dentistry. What were you lecturing about? What are you passionate about? And by the way, congratulations on getting a speaking slot on this program.
It was a little bit intimidating, so I'm happy it's done. So.
Yeah. What were you nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit? Yeah. Did you lose any sleep last night?
No.
No? But
because
seriously,
I was up 3 nights in a row before.
Seriously, this program, that's the 10 biggest orthodontic whales. These are the 10 biggest legends in ortho, so that is amazing. So what it is got you passionate in ortho?
Right now, my passion is acceleration. Finishing orthodontic cases faster. I think there's some unique ways to do that. There's different modalities. It's not just one solution to finishing cases. But I think that there's a lot of market pressures out there right now for us as orthodontists to do 4 main things. We need to finish less expensively.
So cheaper.
Cheaper. You know, if the market isn't pushing us to drop our wages, we've got rising costs and stuff like that. So we have to either be more profitable, or if we've got market pressures, be able to lower our prices. So we need to be able to do it more, less expensively, and you know, it'd be great if we could do it in a way to where we're more profitable and can pass some savings along to the patients. I think we need to do it more comfortably for the patients. Even though more kids these days are coming in saying, I want braces, rather than when I was a kid, I don't want them. They still come in nervous and expecting some discomfort. I would like to see that discomfort disappear. I think we need to finish, especially as an orthodontic specialist, I feel like we need to continually be improving and finishing our cases faster. So those are 3 of the 4, and there's plenty.
So cheaper, comfort, faster.
Cheaper, well, faster would be the 4th. So
faster would be the 4th. So
better. So we got a cheaper. Cheaper, more comfortable. Better, and faster.
And when kids ask you, they say, "Is this going to hurt?" You just slap them right then and say, "Well, did it?"
Sometimes I feel like that's the best approach.
So let's go through this for us. So let's go through cheaper. One of the problems with cheaper is that you could buy a set of brackets for as low as $100.
Right.
But your Invisalign lab bill is going to be what? How much is your average Invisalign lab bill going to be?
Well,
I mean, that's well over 1,000.
Right. So I'm doing over 100 cases a year. So my lab fee ends up being just under $1,400 after taxes.
For Invisalign, $1,400
after taxes.
If you're doing 100 cases a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm paying.
Yeah. So that's
$1,365.
So it's hard to say your orthodontist is going to be cheaper if you just added a $1,400 lab bill, or is that overly simplistic?
I think that's overly simplistic because if you spend more money up front for technology that allows you to be more efficient, that overcomes that you're able to increase savings, let's say in chair, use the simple ones that we always talk about. Oh, well, yeah, it's more expensive to buy that, but we're going to save chair time.
Do you save chair time with an Invisalign check versus a bracket and rubber bands check?
For me, I definitely do. There's no question that I do. The question for most orthodontists or practitioners is, do they care? If you have a lot of excess chair time and you have an excess of chair time, then it doesn't matter if you're saving chair time because you've got plenty. And so if you're actually at capacity, or you feel like you're at capacity, and you can reduce your chair time, then it can save you money. One of the biggest ways that you can save money, though, is not with maybe chair time, but I don't think most of us practitioners are at capacity. So I think a bigger way that we can save money with plastic is probably with staffing, because if you can have 1 or 2 employees less because you're seeing more Invisalign patients, well, that could translate into $70,000 a year for 2 staff.
So how many orthodontists would you say in the United States? 10,600? Is that about what you?
I have no idea.
Okay, we mail Orthotown.
Yeah.
To 10,600. What would you say those average orthodontists, what percent of their practice is Invisalign today?
I would say that it's small. I don't know the answer to that.
We're hearing 15%.
Yeah, that sounds probably right to me.
And how many average starts would you say an orthodontist averages a month?
Total starts. Again, this is not my area, so in my practice, we're doing 400 to 500 starts a year. The average orthodontist, I would say, would probably be more around 200. But I'm sure there's more that do. There's plenty that do upwards of 600 to 1,000, but I think probably the average.
400 divided by 12 months is be 30. So you're averaging between 33, and then 500 divided by 12 is 40. So you're averaging 33 to 41 when the average orthodontist does 15 starts a month. And 15 starts a month times 12 is 180. So 15 a month is 180, or you said 200. So dude, how did you double the national average of starts? And by the way, kudos to you, dude.
Thank you.
Is that because you live in Peoria where everybody's just rich and famous and can afford ortho?
I don't think that's it.
I know it's not it. That would be Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. Peoria, I mean, no offense. I'm in Ahwatukee. Peoria it's just a middle class America. There's nothing rich and sexy about Peoria.
That's correct.
So did you go there on purpose? Did you want blue collar middle class America?
I really did.
Were demographics that were you thinking demographics when you went to Peoria, or
a lot of it was demographics. So,
or did your wife say, if you don't marry me and take me to Peoria, I won't marry you?
Well, I was already married, and my wife said we're going to live someplace warm, which is how we ended up.
Where
in
were you
Arizona.
born and raised?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yep.
And I would think that Tennessee is warm in 4 seasons. Was it?
Well, we're northeast Tennessee. It's plenty warm in the summer. We get below freezing.
But did she want to leave Tennessee?
Well, we never lived in Tennessee together. So she grew up overseas. She spent some time living in Fiji and Bangkok and stuff like that. So no place is warm enough for her because she's lived in all these tropical places. So when we finished our orthodontic residency, she said, we're going someplace warm. The economy was going great here in 2005. So we came out here and we looked around at different towns, and the information that we got was in the valley that Peoria's got great schools and we got great people. We kind of didn't like the whole Scottsdale scene. And I mean, how many people are you showing that? Am I trying to talk people into moving Peoria? Peoria is a horrible place, guys, no one should move to.
What I'm talking about is just every kid we have 2 dental schools here. We have one in Glendale and one in Mesa.
Right.
And if you went to lunch with 20 of those students in a row, they'd all tell you they want to live in North Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, because that's where they want to live, that's where they want to shop. And it's like in the 2008 meltdown, of the 74 practices that went under, half of them were in North Scottsdale. And then when you tell someone, well, you should go to Florence or you should go rural, or they're like, well, I don't want to live there. And I'm trying to tell these guys that demographics matter. And here you moved 1,500 miles from Tennessee to Arizona because demographics matter.
Well, the weather mattered. That's not why we moved to Tennessee, but the weather mattered. Demographics matter. I mean, I grew up in rural Tennessee. I grew up in Appalachia. So my dad went from dirt poor to lower middle class. And
was that from making and selling moonshine?
It was not. It was not. It was as a car mechanic and then a heavy machine mechanic for Eastman Kodak, and so he made a lot out of himself. But still, I grew up lower middle class, and everyone that I knew was in that same situation. So for me, the Scottsdale scene and all that just didn't seem right. I wanted to be in a down-to-earth area with down-to-earth people. And I love our town in Peoria. It's a great place.
I know.
It's a great place to live, but there's tons of orthodontists.
I remember the first time I went to the Scottsdale Dental Study Club. And I'm talking to this dentist. He says, the guy over there, I'm talking about so-and-so. I said, which one is he? And he said, the guy in the such and such shoes. I'm like, you know the name of the pair of his shoes? I'm from Kansas. And I'm like, I don't know the brand name of one pair of shoes. Can you?
Right.
But yeah, it is a different class of people over there.
Right.
And, I went to Ahwatukee, which is Phoenix, because I didn't want middle class or lower class because I had no class. So that's why I went to.
But the point of your question, I got it. But I was already thinking ahead about your demographics thing, and demographics totally matter, right? I mean, that's the key. We have to tailor our practices to the demographics around us. If we try and force the wrong practice style into the wrong demographics, then it can be absolute disaster. So speaking of heavy hitters, the problem is you go and listen to the heavy hitter and you think that they've got the solution for you, and it may be that they absolutely do have the solution to you, but they may practice an entirely different demographic, and what working for them is not going to be for you. So that's what I love about a meeting like this at this symposium, is that you get all these different speakers from different demographics, different places, and you can take the stuff that's going to work best for you in your market and really help grow your practice, grow your skills. And for me, just finishing these cases faster is what I'm passionate about. And
well, a lot of the CE is baloney, because you look at the labs, they'll tell you that 96% of all crowns are done one tooth at a time. Then you go to the big dental meetings, and every Crown and Bridge class is full mouth rehab.
Exactly.
And then you go in the room and says, has anybody in this room not done one full mouth rehab case in like the last 3 years? And all the hands go up. And it's like, why don't they just have some homie saying, this is what you do all day. Let's talk about what you do all day. Okay, so again, I'm gonna go back to the your doubling the starts. The average orthodontist says 200, you're doing 400, 500.
I hope that math's correct.
Is that because you're marketing? Where are you focusing on more? Is it the dentist referrals? Or are you bypassing the dentist and going straight B2C, Facebook, direct mail?
Totally evolved over time how I market, which I think most practices have to evolve. And so where I'm at now is probably largely attributed to my initial marketing strategy, which is different than my marketing strategy now. So my initial marketing strategy was to first get great people. The two TCs that I have doing my TC work now, 12 years later,
TC, treatment
coordinators, are the first two employees that I hired, and they've been with me the entire time.
Since 2005?
Since 2005. So call it luck or call it ingenious interviewing skills. I don't know what you want to call it.
No, call it a great guy to work for.
Maybe. But I got this great staff, and a lot of it I attributed to them. So your marketing has to start internally. If you can't market externally, you can't market to go to Disneyland and then people come and expect Disneyland and they show up and they get the school carnival, right? So you have to have the systems and the staff in place.
I noticed you didn't say the Arizona State Fair.
It's a pretty great event.
Which is a study in genetics. I love the Arizona State Fair. No matter, I don't care if you had 3 eyes and a mole on your ear, you're still married with children. The Arizona State Fair, if you can't find a date, you got to go to the Arizona State Fair and say, why did all these people find a spouse and have children and you're still single? It must be your expectations.
You can find it at the state fair.
You can find anything at the fair. Yeah. But so you're saying that marketing belongs to have. I'll give you a feedback.
It's one of the
There's
first
an
things.
orthodontist in my hood that he always sends a girl around to bring something, and every time it's a new person.
Yep.
And you say, how long have you worked here? Oh, I just started. It's like, why can't he keep an employee longer than a year?
Yeah, so
and that's what you're saying.
So the way those baskets are done is all wrong by the majority of people. You got different people delivering baskets sporadically with junk food, and what happens is the junk food makes it to the break room table, and it gets absolutely destroyed and spread around. And the staff that are eating the junk food, the ones that are willing to eat the junk food, doesn't even know where it's coming from. So if you have a basket strategy, it has to be a well-designed basket strategy. You got to do it with purpose in mind. So one of our marketing strategies is that we picked the general dentist and we did the baskets things, but our approach was going to be that they were going to know that it was us, and we did overkill on some patients, and I was on a shoestring overkill performance with some of the dentists. So I was on a shoestring budget, so we did smaller baskets to everyone in the referral area, and we did it consistently. But we picked one focused dental practice that we focused on for 3 or 4 months. And for that practice, we went every week or 2 weeks with another delivery, and we did big things. So as far as they were concerned, they were ultra VIP, and they could not believe how much special treatment they were getting from Shipley Orthodontics. And then at the end of that 3 months with that focus strategy, if we weren't starting to be able to get a lunch or a dinner or starting to see some referrals, then we dropped it and we moved on, and then we moved to another focused dentist. Another issue was the baskets, is that everything that we put in the basket had our logo on it. You can't just have stuff in a basket with your logo on it, because the paper bag that your logo's on is in the trash and all the goodies are on the table and no one knows where it came from. So if we're going to give 100 butterscotch candies in the basket, there's going to be 100 Shipley logos on those 100 pieces of butterscotch candy. But that's a tangent.
That's my
I'm
favorite
sure.
hard candy, butterscotch.
Yeah,
by the way.
that's why I said it. I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
So the food basket is right. Okay, so what percent of your new patients are coming B to B dentist versus B to C consumer?
It's totally different now. Now the number of patients that come in and say, I'm being referred by the dentist, is a smaller proportion of my practice, probably 30 or 40%.
So one out of three.
1 out of 3.
And what was
now,
it
that
in
doesn't mean
2005?
it was probably 90%.
So 2005 was 3 out of 3, and now it's 1 out of 3.
Right. So when I first started, I mean, the public didn't know me. I had no presence in the schools. No one knew what my logo was. No one had gotten
And you know why no one knew who you were?
Because I was a brand new guy.
No.
What is it?
Because you didn't shoot a lion.
That's it.
If you would have
right?
shot a lion, everybody would have said, there's that guy. I know you.
You know all the tricks. You know all the tricks.
What can you you should go to this Phoenix Zoo and just shoot an animal. You'll make the front page of the paper. Everyone will know you're the orthodontist.
No press is bad press. I don't think that worked out very well for the dentist, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I haven't got the 2-year follow-up.
Yeah,
Do you know if he's now successful and thriving?
Oh my God, he's that almost ruined his life. I've noticed all the pediatric dentists, a lot of them don't even want dentist referrals anymore because they always send the upset kid who's had a bad experience. Mm-hmm. They've migrated straight to the pediatricians, and they do all their focus on the pediatricians. That they want the pediatrician to refer them out, or even the OBGYNs after the delivery. But I noticed they've changed their marketing strategy.
Well, one of the things I've noticed in that regard with our referrals from dentists, and we still have great relationships with our dentists and I love them, but even the patients that come in and say, well, I was referred, I know about you because you have a big presence in my kid's high school, which is the biggest thing that we hear. They may still have been referred by a dentist to us, but what's biggest in their mind is that community involvement. Yeah. But the problem with the dentist referral now is even if the dentist makes you a medium strength referral, most patients are still getting several consults and getting second opinions on that. So if you aren't going after different marketing strategies, just marketing to the dentist isn't enough now because the patients are going to.
Let's stay on the dentist. I'll tell you, I've heard this at more lunches and dinners. I mean, I've had lunch with hundreds of dentists in this town. Hundreds,
I believe it.
If not more. A lot of them say, I don't want to refer to him because I think he doesn't like me because I think he knows I've been doing Invisalign. And and they feel like guilty, like shameful, like you're gonna be mad at me because that's your department, and I've been doing this, and I feel guilty and dirty. What do you think about dentists in your backyard doing some Invisalign? Does it upset you? Do you think they shouldn't be doing it? Do you help them? What is your whole thoughts on that?
So,
remember, this is Dentistry Uncensored.
Right.
We talk about the
I can be as rude or obnoxious as I want. Is that
yeah.
Oh, I won't be.
No, I like to talk about the controversial stuff. I don't want to talk about it.
It's a great question. So I come from a small town in Tennessee, and I wanted to do orthodontics because of my family dentist. Now, I'd never had orthodontics as a youth, but I wrote in a journal when I was 9 years old that I wanted to be an orthodontist. And I don't remember why, but I know it stems from my experience with my dentist. And in my small town in rural Tennessee, there was no orthodontist. I mean, we would have gone a long way. Maybe 3,000?
Yeah.
You know, small town. And there was only 2 dentists. And so for me, there was no specialist. It was just the dentist. I didn't even though I knew I wanted to do orthodontics, I didn't know that I wanted to be an orthodontist until late teens, when I realized that there even was a specialist. So I respect the fact that general dentists have a huge responsibility and a huge mantle to fill to deliver care in the majority of places in the world to underserved people, underserved areas. And in big towns, it's a little bit different. We're in a big town, and things are a little bit different. So that's one aspect of the question, is that in some places, the only option for a child to get orthodontics is from their general dentist. Now, in a big metropolitan area like Phoenix, it's a little bit of a different story because there's plenty of specialists to go around. But if every patient that needed just showed up at all the orthodontists in Phoenix, we wouldn't be able to handle all of the cases. So I'm a strong believer that general dentists have a role to play in delivering orthodontic care. But if a specialist is available, and if you're tackling a case that is too difficult and too hard because you're being maybe a little bit greedy and not being able to say no, then you're not doing the right thing. I think if you're now I'm talking about the big communities, okay, where there's plenty of orthodontists to go around. If you're doing a nice job for the patients, that's great. If there's specialists around that can do a better job to you and you're holding on to it and the patients don't know what they're getting, I think that that's a problem. And there are plenty of general dentists who are just as good as the average orthodontist. The problem is I think more people think they're there than what they really are.
Here's another thing. In talking to my homies, when it comes to occlusion, 80% of Wall Street is normal moderates. 20% think the sky's falling. My two older sisters are Catholic nuns, and you go to any Catholic church, 20% of them think the end of the world's coming in their lifetime. Okay. Right. When you go into occlusion, 80% are moderates, whatever. 20% are kind of crazy, and they'll say those damn orthodontists they blow out the curve of speed, the curve of Wilson, they move it from canine guidance to group function. The orthodontists, they don't know a thing about occlusion. What would you say to that guy? And there's a lot of them that say that. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you ever heard that? Is this news to you, or have you heard some of these guys?
No, I've heard that before, and I think the majority of the orthodontists do finish the majority of their cases better and in a better functional occlusion, better canine guidance, better everything than where the patient starts. I think when we start making generalized unscientific evaluations, oftentimes it becomes emotional. We see 1 or 2 cases and we see this problem, and then this orthodontist is always finishing that case. I think the majority of orthodontists are finishing with better occlusions than what they started with.
20% of the general dentists say that there should never be 4 bicuspid extraction. Just period. End of story. Is that moderate? Is that extremist? Is that crazy? What would you say to that, Dennis?
I think, like most things in life, if you're the truth is always in the middle. Okay.
50 Shades of Grey.
So every case is not a non-extraction case, and it's probably guaranteed that 40% of all cases are not extraction cases. And so the truth is in the middle. So if you say, I never extract, then you're not offering the best care to every patient. And if you're saying, I always put my incisors in a perfect inclination, then you're probably not giving the best care to every patient. The art of orthodontics is being able to choose which compromise we're going to have to make. And in my instance, very, very rarely, out of those 400 or 500 starts a year, I'm probably only extracting on 3 or 4 of those cases. So,
only 3 or 4?
So I do very little extraction, okay, but there's still room for extraction, and there some orthodontists, maybe under the pressure of the referring general dentist, that say I never extract, but there's going to be a certain portion of the population not served very well by that. So the art of orthodontics is being able to find the compromises, just like a good marriage. Compromise is not a dirty word. Sometimes as orthodontic specialists, we feel like if we're compromising, that's a bad thing. Okay? Your marriage or a marriage can't persist if we don't figure out the art of compromise. So compromise makes us better. Compromise makes us achieve higher things, because we're wrong a lot of the times, and sometimes what we think is the compromise ends up being the right way. So for that 20%, I would say you might want to loosen those standards just a bit, and there's probably a few places where it makes sense.
Another thing about the TMJ people, someone will come in with TMJ, grinding, migraines, and everything, and they'll say it's all can be solved by an equilibration because she has an interference on this buckle, and I'm going to adjust here and adjust here, and they'll do this equilibration and say, well, that'll fix that. And I say, okay, well, let's take the reverse of that. I think during ortho, during the unraveling ortho, you have the most messed up occlusion in your whole life.
Right.
So if that was true, then all your patients must go into TMJ and migraines and grinding and headaches until it all gets normal. I mean, because if I can solve all your problems with an equilibration, well, you're the master of unequilibration. You're just like, that's the most mixed up occlusion in the world, especially the first 3-4 months. So what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that occlusion definitely matters. There's no question in my mind. Occlusion is important, but I think, and again, I don't know the science on this. This is just me bloviating, but I think
bloviating.
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
So
but I like it.
But I think the majority of patients, if we didn't have a perfect occlusion, they would go through their entire lives without any negative or noticeable negative sequela from that. So if we've got a 60 or 70-year-old that's had a bad occlusion, or let's say a 50-year-old that's had a bad occlusion their entire life, they come to you for orthodontics, and their TMJ joints are perfect. They don't have any symptoms. They've never had a pain. They may have a little click that occasionally that doesn't bother them, but essentially they're a healthy individual, but they've got this horrible overjet or this horrible problem. Is it the right thing to do in order to fix that? Well, they've got a track record after 40 or 50 years that their malocclusion has not hurt them. And so do I have to force a surgery on them, or do I have to force extractions on them, or do I have to force this elaborate treatment on them when all they really want is front teeth if they've got that track record? On the flip side, when we take our little precious 11-year-old sons and daughters, okay, and we don't know what their future is going to hold for them. We don't know if they're biologically disposed at that young age, at least not with today's technology. We don't know if they're biologically disposed to have TMJ problems or facial pain problems because of occlusion. So what's the big mantle of the orthodontist on these 11 and 12-year-olds? Well, we better finish them in a nice occlusion with good functional occlusion and a nice bite, because we don't know which ones will end up with a problem if we don't do so.
Do you think millennials will have less TMJ than our generation because they're so damn lazy? You think they'll be too damn lazy to get TMJ?
No, because I think they're going to be sitting like this in front of their iPad, compressing their condyle. The computer desk, right?
So,
Like
so
this
back
on
back
their
to marketing
condyle.
to dentists. Do you ever put on courses for general dentists? Is that a good marketing strategy? Some specialists will put on a course, or they'll put on a Christmas party, or an annual Christmas party. And any of those things?
We offer dental ed. I don't know if you know what dental ed is.
Dental education.
Yep.
Is that a website?
It's not a website. It's done through Vision Trust America, and what their strategy is you sign up for this service.
And it's called Vision Trust.
Vision Trust, and it's Dental Ed North America.
So should I go to www.visiontrust.com?
Probably.
Okay.
They've got a booth here today. You can just walk outside.
Okay.
And find it.
Vision Trust.
So what this is it's live webinars, and patients. What I found with dentists is that they don't want to come to my study club every month and hear me, the general dentist, and hear me talking about orthodontics. They want to hear things that are interesting to them. So I could have started a model where I just go and show my cases all day long and would have had small attendance. What the model is with Vision Trust, with Dental Ed, is that they have powerhouse dental speakers, and we have 8 of these lectures a year, but it's done through live webinar. So I get a conference room, we get
That's it right there.
get some food, that's it.
Okay, so visiontrust.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then continue how it works.
Right. So they come in this lecture hall, we feed them dinner, and then it's a live webinar where we can ask questions back and forth. But we have these powerhouse dental speakers come and speak about issues that the dentists are interested in. And that's been very effective for me. We have about 40 or 50 dentists come every month. I don't have to put as much planning time into it. We just got to make sure that it's a good venue with good food, and the dentists seem to appreciate that. I'm also a member.
How much that costs you?
Oh,
Or how does that work?
I don't know. I quit paying attention a few years ago because we've been doing it probably 7 or 8 years now.
But you recommend so Vision Trust
It's probably over $10,000 a year for the service.
So Vision Trust is so instead of me putting on a seminar or a quarterly seminar for my referrals where I have to get the speaker,
Right.
you guys are showing up and it's a live webinar with a speaker, or
Right. So there may be 40 orthodontists across the country,
that all
listening,
doing it.
all doing it the same night, listening to the same speaker every
Nice.
night. So in these 40 different locations or more across the country, however many people are signed up, the dentists are listening to the same speaker, but because it's live, we can be interactive and ask questions at the same
Now,
time.
do they only do this for orthodontists?
I think the majority, if not all, of the specialists offering this in America are orthodontists. Yes.
And why would that be? And why would oral surgeons and endodontists and
Well, the idea was the idea started in Australia, and it was championed by Dave Paquette, an orthodontist in North Carolina, in the initial stages, and it was brought to America through Vision Trust, which is, I think, primarily an orthodontic consulting firm.
and that's Jeff Behan?
Yes,
Jeff Behan, is he the American or the Australian?
American.
He's the American. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so
So it's been a great model for us. We pay for this service, probably over $10,000 a year. You know, we probably spend, because we got a lot of people coming, we probably spend $2,000 to $3,000 per event for catering, and so it gets up there. But it's been nice because the whole community comes out. We get together as dentists, and they get to hear about dental topics. So it's been one of the favorite ways that we've offered CE, and then I try to once a year throw in just one of my orthodontic lectures. Just to show what I'm doing, rather than trying to force feed orthodontics to the majority of GPs.
well, if you ever want me to speak to your referrals, I would do so for free. It'd be an honor.
Oh,
Seriously,
I would love to have you.
I would waive my honorarium. You coming on my show for free anytime. I do it in the evening. I do it all day. Whatever you want me to do. So now let's move from B2B referrals of dentists referring to an orthodontist to B2C. What are you doing to get mom to come straight to you? Is that Facebook? Is it direct mail? Is it Yellow Pages?
I haven't. So
is it a
direct
Batman
mail
light that you shine at the stars at night?
Direct mail was an early strategy that was effective, but now it's not. I haven't done a direct mailer.
So it was effective in 2005 when you started, and when did it stop being effective?
Probably 2010, 2011.
So the meltdown was 2008. So it was still working after the meltdown, but by 2011, it kind of stopped working.
Let's just say I wouldn't say it stopped
And would
working.
you say-
It started to drop
would you
off
say that's
where
'cause
these
you're-
other areas were picking up.
And would you say that's because you're in Peoria, where most people can't read or write the direct mail? So you backed off on direct mail and went to, where did you move that money?
Well, our earlier efforts started paying off of getting known in the community. So we sponsor the high schools, we sponsor the middle schools and grade schools.
What do you
We've
mean
got,
sponsor?
Well, if there's a scoreboard in a gym, I want my name to be on it.
Really?
Okay?
So that's effective, sponsoring some
Right.
school.
If there's a take-home folder,
And do you put your what do you put? Do you put your first, middle, last name, or you just do your?
I just do my logo.
You just do your logo, and that's your Shipley. Your Shipley logo.
Shipley Orthodontics, yeah.
Shipley Orthodontics. So you don't try to brand Thomas.
Nope. I do brand the Shipley name just because that's the way I practice. I'm one doctor, one location.
What is Shipley anyway? Is that Scandinavian?
It's English, Leicestershire.
English.
Yeah.
So a lot of dentists, you always see them trying to brand, like Howard, Eugene, Farran, it's just like too much Greek and Latin, and you're just keeping it just Shipley.
Shipley Orthodontics.
Or you want an orthodontist, you just got to remember Shipley.
Yeah, and so it's a controversial topic because a lot of people feel like they have to name their practice something so that they can hire associates easily or sell the practice easily or move around easily. I had every intention of being one practice, one location for my entire life. That's the way I wanted to practice, and I didn't want people to come to Canyon Orthodontics. Where's the Canyon? I wanted people to come to Shipley.
Well, when Ray Kroc bought McDonald's from Dick and Mac McDonald's, I mean, he didn't change it to Kroc. I mean, who wants to eat at a Kroc? I mean, it's McDonald's. Ray Kroc bought it. He wasn't going to say, oh, you know what sounds better? Let's eat at a Kroc. A Kroc of what, So I think you'd have no problem buying Shipley Orthodontics when you retire. I think the problem would is to buy Shipley Orthodontics, who's been an amazing brand for 40 years, and then change it to your last name.
Right.
I mean, why not just leave it Shipley? I mean, could you imagine when Ray Kroc bought McDonald's, they changed it to McKroc? And then now what would it be called? McWall Street?
I think you may be right. The problem is in several states, if not the majority, there's actually dental law precluding you from using the name of the previous practitioner.
Really?
For more than a grace period of, say, like
I forgot to tell you,
years.
I hate all lawyers.
All right.
So
I'm not.
Full disclosure. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's switch to number. But back to cheaper. I don't think we really nailed that. What is the in MBA school? I got my MBA from Arizona State University, and they used to.
I got a business degree.
You got a business degree?
I did, undergrad, yeah.
From
Not an MBA.
Kentucky?
BYU.
They say the secret to lower prices is lower cost. If American Airlines lowered their prices to match Southwest Airlines, they go bankrupt because they'd run out of loss. What is the secret to lower cost so that you can provide orthodontics cheaper?
Being scrupulous about the technology that you implement into your practice. There's a lot of gadgets and gadgets out there that if you listen to the sales reps, it'll turn your practice into this amazing practice, and it's just not true. You can spend a lot of money on things that don't pan out as far as...
Give us examples. Give us names. Piss everyone off right now. Just start pissing them off.
All of them.
What do you think? What do you think? Because what is an investment in technology that makes you do dentistry faster, easier, cheaper, higher quality, lower cost? faster, better, cheaper versus what is just buying a bunch of technology to raise your overhead?
Okay, so I can give you a good example if that's what you switched to and asking. One of the best examples for me is Propel MOPS, micro-osteoperforations.
Okay, Propel, that's propel.com.
Yep, propelortho.com.
Propelortho.com.
Yeah, Propel will take you to the water. So
where what you do is you numb the tissue.
I use the majority of orthodontists use a high-powered topical to numb the gingiva.
And what is that high-powered topical?
I use BTT. Stands for baddest topical in town. It's a
Are you
compound.
serious?
Yeah.
Is that the website?
No, you can get it from any compounding pharmacy. I get mine from Woodland Hills Pharmacy out of California. But BTT stands for baddest topical in town. But it's a compound topical.
And you get it from
Woodland Hills Pharmacy
Woodland Hills Pharmacy
in Woodland Hills, California.
Is that the same pharmacy that what is it called again? Woodland
Hills
Pharmacy.com. That's it right there.
That looks like it. Los Angeles sounds good. Woodland Hills, that's it. You made it.
Because see, Prince and I go to a different pharmacy. That's
that's
a whole
different
other
issue.
story. Okay, so you get BTT, baddest topical in town.
Right.
And so
unless you live in Texas, you can call it best topical in Texas. Or in Texas, it's biggest topical in Texas. In Tennessee, it's best topical in Tennessee.
And so, what do you know? What the ingredients? I mean, is it like a?
Well, I would normally be able to tell you, but I don't normally do interviews. So let's see if I can rattle them off. We're gonna have lidocaine in it. We're gonna have here we go. Lidocaine, phenylephrine. See, I'm spacing. So any day of the week I can tell you.
So you're not using a needle.
Yeah.
So you're putting the baddest topical in town on there, and then what do you do?
So the way we do the topical is I cut out gauze strips and I squirt the topical onto the gauze strips. We put it on. It's high powered. We don't want the tissue to fluff, so we just leave it on the gingiva for 3 minutes, and then we have the patient sit up with cheek retractors in, because you don't want saliva building up, making a mess. So if you're going to use topical for this procedure, you got to be methodical in the way you place it. You just can't goop up a Q-tip and stick it in their mouth. You got to place it on nice, set them up, make sure the saliva is not spreading it all over. Anyway, we rinse it out. We have them wait at least 10 minutes, because subgingivally after we rinse it off, it still takes about at least 10 minutes after that to get a full effect. And then they're numb, and we can do anything. We can do a lot of stuff.
So what do you do? You take a 15 blade, or you just go right through the tissue to make your micro perforation?
So the micro perforation with the Propel device, it essentially looks like a 7mm screw, but it's a very nice, very sharp, high grade, surgical grade stainless steel screw. And we put it 2 millimeters into the cortical plate. We don't go super deep into the alveolus like we're placing a TAD. Just very, very small, 2 millimeters into the cortical plate, which is why we can do this with a topical. We're trying not to get near the PDL or the root.
You're rotating, and you're
right. There's no nerve endings in the cortical plate, so we don't need to numb up the cortical plate. We just need to numb up the gingiva, and the topical is enough. So 2 millimeters deep, in and out. 1 to 2 perforations between the teeth that we want to move.
1 to 2 in between 2 teeth. You get a high and a low.
Yep.
2 perforations.
I like to do 1 above the mucogingival junction, 1 below.
And 1 above the mucogingival junction,
and then 1
below. 1 in the attached gingiva, and 1 in the removable mucosa.
Correct.
Between every teeth.
That needs to move significantly.
That moves.
For most cases, it's going to be upper and lower 2 to 2.
And how often do you do the perforation? Is it every quarter, every 3 months?
For most of my cases, I only do it once.
One time.
Right. So what Propel the company, propelortho.com, they will tell you to repeat the procedure every 3 to 4 months. I find in my hands that I can get the effects of the procedure to last 5 or 6 months, because we're creating the cytokines involved in the cellular turnover in the bone to get the bone to remodel faster around the teeth. And so that has to last for a while. So for me, it lasts for about 5 to 6 months. And for the majority of the patients that I'm doing this with, it's Invisalign patients. We do the Propel procedure, and then instead of changing the trays every 2 weeks or every 14 days, I change the aligners every 3 days.
Instead of every 14 days
or a week.
So instead of, without Propel, you change them every 7 to 14 days.
Right.
But with Propel, you change them every...
3 days.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
So what is that? So how long would the average Invisalign case be without Propel, and how long would it be with Propel?
Without Propel, my average Invisalign case is probably 9 to 16, 17 months. And that's with 7-day aligner changes. When I was still doing 14-day aligner changes, who knows, 1.5 years, 2 years. But I think with 7-day aligner changes, if that's working predictably for you without acceleration, 9 to 15, 16 months. With Propel, most of my cases are finishing in 4 or 5 months. Better than they were before I was doing Propel.
Holy moly. And how much would that Propel, how much overhead would that add to a case?
Well, this is how we got into the conversation, right? So I pay between $100 to $120 a screw. I buy them in bulk, so I get them for $100. So it costs me $100 to buy the screw.
$100.
Yep.
Well,
so instead of 10, 12 appointments or 8 appointments, we got 4 appointments. And so that's what I'm talking about. This is a great advance in technology and science, and it only cost me $100 to do it, and it's significantly reducing chair time, how fast I need to see how often I need to see the patients, and the patients are coming in begging for it. And so that's the difference between buying this high-powered machine for $250,000 and it barely making a dent in our cost savings. And so we got to be careful about how we implement these strategies. And if we feel like we want to get that $250,000 machine so that we can offer better care, which I think as professionals is what we should do if it helps us offer the better care, then we need to find ways to do it cheaper, such as Propel, to help balance some of those costs.
Now, was that $250,000 machine you're talking about a CBCT?
Yes.
Well, let me just ask you straight up. Can I be a really quality orthodontist with a 2D pano and a staff? Or to be a really quality orthodontist, do I need a 3D CBCT?
So it depends on your definition of quality. If your definition of quality is getting 6 straight teeth in the front and the top and the bottom, then yeah, you can be a quality orthodontist without a CBCT. But if you truly want to be a specialist and take care of the holistic person, help their airways, help them with their sleep apnea, help them with their malocclusion, help them with their TMD, help them with their facial pain, help them with things that we don't even know that are problems yet, then I don't think you can be that top orthodontist anymore without a CBCT. If you want to do what's right for the patient.
What CBCT did you like? Because there's so many.
I have the ICAP.
Is that kind of the standard of care among orthodontists?
I think that's probably the go-to for most.
And why is that? Is it because of first mover advantage? Weren't they kind of the first?
Yeah, I think it's better in a lot of
better.
ways. I think it's better, and I think they've got the name. So
I want to go back to
together.
Propel. I
Right.
prefer iDog, but that's just me. You like iCat,
iDog.
iDog.
That's funny.
Propel's got 2 technologies though. It's got this micro perforation, but it's got a vibrating device.
Yes, vPro 5.
vPro 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a part of your regimen?
I use a lot of vPro 5. In fact, we're almost to the point to where we're going to start offering vPro 5 to all of our Invisalign patients regardless.
Explain what it is.
It's an aligner seater. So we're just vibrating the aligner onto the teeth. It's that simple.
And you think that vibrating the teeth and the ligament just kind of gets the whole thing going?
No,
quicker?
that's not what I'm hanging my hat on. I think the science behind vibration is controversial at best, whether or not we're biologically causing cells to stimulate and move bones faster. What I can hang my hat on is that vibration seats the aligners better. So the example that I use is bracket positioning. Okay, so as an orthodontist, I want to put the bracket on the middle of the tooth because the prescription in the bracket is designed to move the tooth if it's in the right position. And so if I put the bracket in the wrong position, that's inefficient because the force is going to the wrong space. I'll grossly move the tooth to the right position, but then I got to start bending wire and repositioning to get the tooth just perfect. Whereas if I put the bracket in the right spot to begin with, I would have saved a lot of time and cost and been more efficient because I would have got the tooth in the right position in the first place. So where we deliver the forces to the teeth is important. For Invisalign is very sophisticated now, and they design the aligners so that the forces to the teeth are delivered to the teeth in a very specific way. And so a misfitting aligner, in my opinion, is very similar to a badly positioned bracket. So if the aligner goes on the tooth and the force in the aligner is supposed to deliver the force here, but the aligner is only sitting like this, it's delivering the force to the wrong spot on the tooth. And that's inefficient. So a poor fitting aligner, in my opinion, is like an ill-fitting bracket. And so if we get the aligner to fit better, we've positioned the bracket better. So while all vibration is, in my opinion, is vibrating the teeth into the aligner, getting the aligner to track better, seating the aligner, and I think we can only speculate about what that means as far as efficiencies and how we deliver forces to the teeth. But I will tell you this, is every single patient that I've treated with the Invisalign trays, and this is without micro-osteo perforations, every patient that I've treated with the V Pro 5, I've changed their aligners at 5 days of an aligner, and I've not had any problems with it.
Okay, so, when you tell mom your daughter looks like she can eat corn on the cob to a chain link fence, mom gets nervous because she doesn't want her daughter to have to join a nunnery like my two older sisters. They want her to get married and have grandchildren. But the big deal is cost. I mean, it's money. I mean, if you tell mom your daughter needs braces, the first thing going through her head is not, can you do the braces? Like, oh my God.
How much is it going to cost?
Talk. I only got you for 8 more minutes. Talk cost. How do you help sell something that costs so much? I assume, what is your average age? $6,500?
We're around $6,200.
$6,200
is the fee that we strive for.
Do you think charging $100 more or $100 less than the guy across the street, is that a game changer, or what do you? How do you?
I don't think it is for me.
Switch to the business.
But I think it is for some.
Yeah, switch to the business side.
Sure.
What?
Oh yeah. So it's all about the demographics. I mean, it's hard to speculate what I do and what it means for others. So we will talk about what it means for me with the full understanding that this doesn't apply to everyone. Right now, I don't feel market pressures to decrease my costs. For me, right now, I'm happy with the number of patients that I'm seeing. With Propel and being effective, I've been able to trim my practice down to from 4 days a week to less than 3 days a week, and I use that time to go out lecturing. I gave 70 lectures a couple of years ago, so I do a lot of lectures.
Damn.
So I don't feel a need to see a ton more patients. That may change when I stop lecturing. Now I've created more space where I need to get more patients. It's a lot. So now I don't feel the need to start a ton more patients, and so I don't feel market pressures to drive more patients into my office. That may change in the future. And so one way to get more patients into your office is to lower the fees. And if you want more patients in your office, that's an effective strategy to do it. But you should really think that out before you do it. Because maybe the reason why patients aren't coming to your practice is because you're not nice to your patients. And if you're not being nice to your patients and you lower your fees, all you've done is decreased your profits, and it may get you immediate boost in your patients, but eventually it's going to work against you when the bad Facebook posts start rolling or bad Yahoo group. So you need to find out what your problem is before you say, I need to lower my prices. So if you're a big jerk, the real solution is stop being a jerk. Right? If your problem is you're not getting nice finishes to your cases, then you need to get better finishes to your cases. But if your problem is that in your market area, people are doing similar quality, similar nice experience, but they're choosing someone else because there's lower prices, then you might want to lower your prices.
What I've seen here in Phoenix, Arizona for 30 years, and like I say, I'm in Phoenix, I'm not in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, is that I would rather bet on the long-term staff with a dynamic personality who does horrible work other than the guy who does the perfect endo, perio, oral surgery, or whatever, and is an asshole and has a lot of staff turnover.
Yep.
It's like the guys who are fun and their staff is fun, everyone loves them, $1 million practices. But you might get the case back and there's spaces between some of the teeth, or the endo's a little short, or but oh my God, it just
there's not too many people out there saying it. I mean, go listen to your lectures. People are saying, well, we need to find ways to reduce costs or increase our technology, or you need this widget to do your case better, which what a lot of practitioners just need is to just stop being a jerk, and they'll see an immediate increase in their practice, right?
IQ seems to be the same measurement at like 15 as it does 50. But EQ, the research shows you can improve your EQ. I mean, you just can't make yourself smarter. Mm-hmm. You just can't say, people who say in high school, they say, well, I wasn't very good in math. Well, maybe you weren't very smart. I mean, that's just, you probably just weren't smart.
Right.
But what they're showing is that successful people are the ones with a high EQ, not high IQ. So, who cares if you're good with calculus if you're an asshole? But the emotional quotient is like, you're aware of your presence, you're aware of how you make people feel, you're aware that was inappropriate, that you need to listen, that you shouldn't be texting to someone while they're talking, like an orthodontist, talking to the mom and never addressing the teenage daughter, make eye contact or say the girl's name. Emotional quotient, the one who goes in there and just crushes it emotionally, personality, they're $1 million practices. The ones who memorize the periodic table and algebra and trig and calculus, some of those guys are the most miserable people on earth.
Agreed.
I'd rather have a great personality
That's
than
where it
no
always
calculus
starts
story.
first.
Yeah.
So I guess to young dentists, and I teach residents, so what I tell the residents is the first thing you need to do on your marketing strategy is just be a good guy or gal.
Yeah.
That's it.
And there's 168 hours in a week. If you want to throw a tantrum, just don't do it at work. Just freaking go home, and that's
you need a quiet room in your house.
Yeah.
Can I put one plug in before we finish today?
Yeah, plug for what?
Well, so I have a Facebook group, and it's called Acceleration Ortho Station.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Now, one of the unfortunate parts about this Facebook group is right now it's limited to orthodontists and orthodontic residents. We might in the future do something for general practitioners.
No, you won't. You won't. You won't.
Or nice, right?
Or orthodontists, endodontists would do that. Oral surgeons would do that. Pediatric dentists would do that. But an orthodontist would never do that. So right. Thomas Shipley, I'll help plug it. Thomas Shipley.
Acceleration Ortho Station.
Spell acceleration.
ECC.
ECC.
EL.
LEL.
ERATI.
Acceleration.
Ortho, one word, Ortho Station.
Acceleration's with an A, right?
Yeah.
Acceleration, what?
Ortho Station.
Ortho Station. Ortho Station. Did I spell it right? Facebook.com, Acceleration Ortho Station.
That's pretty close. That's
okay, let's see. Let's see if we hit a bullseye.
Let's see if you can do it. Anyway, while you're looking, what Acceleration Ortho Station is I used to get a ton of emails asking me questions about Propel and accelerated orthodontics. And so I started this Facebook group to make it a community effort rather than me just answering a bunch of emails.
Well, try to find the link.
So I think if I go here, and you're more tech savvy than me.
Yeah,
so if I go to info, and I go to share group, and I go to copy link,
and then text it to me.
If I go to you, and I create a text, and what's your phone?
480.
We're gonna just put your number out there.
480-241.
241.
2832.
2832.
Yep.
I'll paste that over to you.
So it's a number. So how many members you got on your group?
We're at almost 500. I think we're like 460, 470.
Okay.
My goal is to have it to 1,000 by the end of the year.
So what you've done on your Facebook group is you have a number, but since you now have how many in your group?
Almost 500.
Yeah. So now you qualify for a signature name.
Is that right?
So now you can. Your group should be that. But you can't do that on day one because you'd waste all these Facebook time starting all these special names. I forgot what
That's
they
a
call
good
it.
tip.
Yeah. So now that you're,
That's why I love to listen to you. I mean, good tips coming from every direction when you don't even expect.
so
it.
yeah. So I forgot what they call that. Is it called a Oh, I forgot what they call it. But anyway, so you have enough people now where you qualify for that. But are you familiar with the online CE?
For Dentaltown, yes.
And Orthodown?
Yes.
So we put up 350 courses. They've been viewed 750,000 times. And those courses are an hour. And everybody that puts up a course for an hour, their speaking invitations go crazy because here's what structurally happens. I need 3 volunteers to pick the speakers at next year's meetings. You're in charge of endodontists. I don't know who to get. Don't get who we got last year. Get someone new. So you go to Dentaltown. They go to online CE. There's only like 6 one-hour courses on endo. That's your demo tape. So all these people, especially specialists who put up an online CE course, now they get invited to all these counties they can't even find on a map. I mean, California has 38 different counties that bring in speakers. So if someone says, bring in an ortho, an endo, and a practice management, and you get the ortho, you get the endo, so they'll go to Dentaltown. And they say, yeah, I just went to Dentaltown. I watched those 6 deals, and out of the 6 periodontists, I like that guy. So it's kind of like if you went to Hollywood and wanted to be a movie star, you'd have your demo tape. An hour course on Dentaltown, and Dentaltown, Orthodontic, Hygiene Town, it's just one CE section. But an hour course on there is gangbusters. Not to mention, that's why, like last year, I lectured in Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Johannesburg, London, Paris, France, and 40 cities in the United States. But all that international shit's from the online part. So you do an online CE course, and next thing you know, they're listening to you in London, Paris, Moscow, St. Petersburg.
That's interesting. I
I hope
gotta
you
look
do.
into it.